Hello Ushers, this is Drew here doing a little Usher training video for you. We're so thankful that you've agreed to be a part of our Usher crew. Many of you have been serving for a long time and some of you are brand new at this work, and so I thought we'd just do a little quick training video to get you oriented to the work of the Usher here at First Methodist Church on Sunday morning. If you don't already know, Bedell Derryberry and his daughter Allison are our head ushers. They're sharing that responsibility, and they'll be coordinating with the weekly team captains for each service and making sure that we've got everything we need in place and ready to go. I wanted to show you something over here on our board. We have here in the narthex the list of folks who are serving in each worship service for the next 3 Sundays. We'll be keeping this updated at all times so you can find out what you're asked to do. Now, each Sunday when you gather here, we do ask you to be here for your usher work about 15 minutes before each service, and for you to stay about 10 or 15 minutes after each service. It's important to remember that we need to be here before folks start arriving, and we need to stay until after they've left the sanctuary. So again, be here about 15 minutes before your assigned worship time, and plan to stay a little bit after, and then we'll all be in good shape. When you get here, just gather up here in the narthex, and your usher captain for the week will find you and help make sure you know what area you're being assigned to. As most of you know, we have 4 ushers in the narthex, and you all are assigned to the 4 doors going into the sanctuary. 1 down there, the 2 in the middle, the 2 ushers are here, and 1 down at the end. We also like to have an usher at the end of this hallway, down by the doors that come in from the annex side. We like to have an usher or 2 down there handing out bulletins and helping folks find their way up to the sanctuary. We do have greeters on duty also, and the greeters will be at the main doors coming into the narthex and at the doors on either side of the choir room. So we've got lots of coverage. Ushers and greeters are very complementary to each other, and so we'll share that work. But ushers are the folks that hand out the bulletins, so be sure you get you a stack of bulletins and be prepared to greet people as they come into the sanctuary, to hand them a bulletin and make them feel very comfortable coming in here to prepare to worship God. Now, once you get in the sanctuary and begin seating people and helping people find their way into the place of worship here, know that we'll need you to keep track of where the empty seats are and to point people in the right direction. Help them find comfortable, good seats. Let them tell you where they like to sit. It is always best if someone, especially a new person, will let you actually take them to their seat. And if you can, find out who they are, ask them their name, share your name, tell them you're glad that they're here, and help them know about the welcome desk. The magazines that are in the back of the pew, the program of ministry brochures, are always right here in the back of each pew. They can learn a lot more about our church from those, and also introduce them to people who might be sitting around them. That's very important, that connections are made as folks come in. If they make 4 or 5 good connections on their first visit, they're very likely to come back, because they may have met people they already knew, or they will have made new friends as they have come into worship. I mentioned briefly the welcome desk. You all know where that is. I think it's out here in the narthex. Sorry to be walking so much, but it's right here by the door, and we have a crew of folks there who are able to direct people to Sunday school classes and to small groups and to all kinds of things that happen around the church. So if people have questions or they look lost, you might ask if we can help, and then when they start asking their questions, just help usher them over to the welcome desk, and those folks will help get them plugged in. Now, during the service, 8:30 and 10:45 offerings will be a little bit different. They both start out the same. The ushers gather in the back of the sanctuary and wait for either the liturgist or the worship leader to call them forward to receive the offering. When you go forward, we'll just process up the aisle, and the liturgist or the worship leader might still be talking, offering words of instruction to the people. When you get all the way to the front of the sanctuary, right here by the font, the acolytes will bring the offering plates down to you, and you can begin to pass them among yourselves, while the liturgist at 8:30 has a prayer, At 10:45, that prayer will happen at the end of the offering, not at the beginning of the offering. So you'll just receive your plate and then immediately go to the area that the usher captain has assigned for you to collect the offering from. It'll all make sense on Sunday morning, I promise. If you've never done it before, you've seen it 1,000 times, and you'll kind of fall right into place, I think. If you get lost, though, hey, they'll help you. The folks who know have been doing it for a long time, they're always glad to help and to give a little word of instruction. Remember, as we receive the offering, we do regroup at the back of the sanctuary, and when the doxology is played at 8:30, it's Praise God from whom all blessings flow, or something along those lines. At 10:45, at least at first, it's going to be a verse or two of Amazing Grace. And so when you hear those words, it's time then to process back to the front with the offering and hand the offering over to the acolytes. At 8:30, we stand and wait until the doxology is completed, and at 10:45, after you've handed the offering to the acolytes, you may return to your seats or to your stations where you have been working. We'll have 6 ushers on the floor collecting offering and 2 in the balcony at both services. We'll play that by ear at first, but that's our plan, and the usher captains will help you know what to do for various contingencies that might come up. A few words about communion. On Communion Sundays, which are our first Sundays of the month, at 8:30, ushers will be sending people up the aisles one row at a time, one pew at a time, and we always start with the folks in the balcony. Usher captains will help you know what to do if you're confused about that. At 10:45, we'll not be doing that same process. At 10:45, we'll just be inviting people to come as they feel comfortable, and so we will just need a couple of ushers to be close at hand around the chancel area, the kneeling rail, in case folks need help either kneeling down or standing back up. So it'll be a little different at 10:45. You won't have to direct people so specifically as we do at 8:30. A little different feel in both services, but again, you'll get the hang of it after a time or two. Now, a few words about the end of worship. When worship concludes, we'd like for you during the benediction or maybe the last verse of the hymn, slip out and go back to your place, back to where you were at the beginning of worship, and prepare to open the doors and to welcome people out into the narthex, and then to bid them farewell as they leave from here. Wish them a good week, a happy week, and tell them you're glad they came. And again, just the hospitality continues after worship just as much as before worship. As the sanctuary empties out, we're going to be counting on you ushers to reset the sanctuary for both services. And so what that means is that we'll come in and go up and down every pew, including the balcony. Don't forget the balcony. We'll go down every pew, make sure hymnals and Bibles are in place, make sure all the papers are well in order like these here that you see in the video, and collect any trash that you might find floating around. Also, after the second service, we'll need to tear off the attendance and registration sheets that have been used for the Sunday that you're working. Those are the pew pads that we talk about every week. Be sure and collect those, and we always take those to the office and put them on the front desk. Also, at the end of worship, the usher captain and one other person will go up to the altar table, put the offering in a bag, one bag for each service. It's a locking bag, and that bag is taken to the safe, which is located in the church office, and the money is placed in the safe with 2 witnesses. That's how we do it every week to make sure everything is on the up and up, and always, without any doubt, we're maintaining our integrity. A couple of other special notes. Every Sunday we have to count the folks, and so your usher captains will help designate people to count different areas. There are count sheets that we use at the welcome desk. When you do that, be as accurate as you can. It's very hard to count people in the sanctuary discreetly, but do try to be as discreet as possible. Stand behind the pews and count the people. We do that about the middle of the service because so many folks do come in well after we have started, and so the usher captains, again, will help you know when to do that. and they'll make it as easy as possible. Do your best on that counting. It's tricky, but it's important that we have an accurate count. Another special note, there are times when we have to deal with folks getting sick in the sanctuary, with people passing out or needing some kind of assistance. Always work together to deal with the situation as discreetly as possible. Know that Summer and I are always watching from the front, and when we see a problem that might be at hand, we're going to deal with it verbally and give instructions to the ushers and to the people in the crowd. For example, if someone were to completely pass out and maybe even die in worship, this happens. It happens in churches. You, ushers, would need to go to that person and render whatever assistance we can. Someone, the head usher or the usher captain, will direct someone to call for an ambulance, and we'll do our best to perhaps interrupt the service by singing some hymns together, just to keep everything moving smoothly and to lessen any embarrassment that might be felt by a person who is ill or having some kind of trouble. Those are case-by-case basis. We can talk about them all day long, and they're never the same, but our process is always the same. Handle the situations as quickly, as gently, and as lovingly as possible, always trying to minimize disturbance in worship. That means a different thing for every situation. But it's one of those things, I think your intuition kicks in, and you just know what to do when you have to deal with it. So hopefully we won't have that happen very often, but we do from time to time. Another thought that's important, the doors to the sanctuary need to be closed carefully and quietly as soon as we start worship, and they need to be kept closed all the way through worship. This is going to be very important at the 8:30 service because we do have folks arriving for Sunday school. They'll be coming through the narthex while we're still in worship. And so do keep that in mind. Just close the doors as quickly as you can after we start, and make sure that they stay that way after we get going. Communion Sundays, we obviously have to let the balcony people come down and come in, but as soon as they go back up, it's time to close the doors again, just to keep things as quiet and reverent as possible. I think that's about all the details that I can think of right now today. We may edit this video later as we learn more from each other. Just know that your work as an usher is so very important to the way folks are received and welcomed into worship. People come here looking for God, and our work is to help make that happen. And most often that just means staying out of the way and helping them be comfortable and at peace as they arrive. We're not the sanctuary police. We don't need to worry about people bringing drinks in or a snack. That's fine. It happens. And if we ever try to correct that, we run the risk of alienating someone who might never have been to church before. And so we do our best to maintain decorum, but if folks need to have a snack or a cup of coffee, I don't care. I think that it's important that we let them have that, and just remember that this is God's house, and it's much more important to God that they be present with us than anything else that might be coming along with them. Be kind, be loving, be yourselves, and just love people like you do. I've never seen a group of ushers as good as ours, and I'm thankful for that. So you all should be teaching this video and not me. Anyway, thank you for what you do, and know that we'll learn as we go, and your usher captain each week will help you know what that looks like, and we'll be in good shape as we start this new adventure. Thank you so much.